Hey, what's going on guys? Nick here with another Alien Covenant deleted scene video. Now, I've been reading through the novelization for Alien Covenant, and it actually does have a lot of the stuff from the early scripts of the film, and stuff that I actually didn't even know was part of the material for the film, like, alternate dialogue sequences, stuff that kind of fleshes out character decisions, motivations, and things like that. I might do a separate video on kind of like the main differences actually between the novelization and then the final film, but make no mistake, the novelization was written by Alan Dean Foster, who's obviously a veteran of the Alien franchise in terms of the novels, and also they do credit all of the screenwriters and story writers in the novelization, so I have to assume that this is based off of a fairly late draft of the script, the screenplay that was actually part of the production. So all in what I'm about to say in this video is based off a pretty big deleted scene from the novel that actually changes a lot about the Xenomorph origin as we know it. So spoiler alert here, if you guys haven't seen Alien Covenant, obviously don't watch this video, but Ridley Scott had said in interviews that David was the creator of the Xenomorph. He found that that was a more interesting route to take it rather than having the engineers be the creators of the Xenomorph or some other origin. Now, in Alien Covenant, it isn't explicitly clear as to who created the Xenomorph. It's clear that David created the version of the Xenomorph that we see in this film. That's pretty much made clear, but we don't know whether or not he was simply imitating something that he had found, or just that he had created this all on his own through cross-hybridization and things like that. Now, the novel does clear up something very big. When David takes Orem down into his lab, it's filled with all of the kind of gruesome sights that we saw in the film, the dissected engineer's corpse, tiny neomorph specimens that have been preserved, the failed experiments as he called them, things like that, the insects. But most notably, in the novelization, there are corpses or sort of models of something that resembles the classic Giger alien. David shows Orem a petrified facehugger's egg, which he reveals that he euthanized because it was far too aggressive. Now, the interesting thing is that he mentions that this facehugger egg was left behind by the engineers themselves, and he says, quote, "It's a supreme example of their skill," and his attempts to create the alien seemingly are trying to emulate this one left by the engineers. And he also does confirm in the novelization that the aliens take on characteristics of their host species, like we saw, the dog alien in Alien 3, which is just a nice little reference there. But the alien egg being left behind the engineers is probably the biggest thing that the novelization provides, because that definitely contradicts what Ridley Scott has said in interviews by suggesting that the engineers did actually create their own version of the Xenomorph, and that David's attempts to kind of recreate it are just simply imitations, or him trying to perfect the creature, like he kept mentioning the perfect organism. So we don't know if Ridley actually shot this sequence and just cut it out of the film, or if he actually never shot it and it was just part of the screenplay and he just opted to go with the whole David origin route. But this is a pretty big thing for me personally, because in terms of the Xenomorph's origin, I would much rather prefer if it was something that the engineers had first come up with and that David was just simply trying to recreate something that they had done, rather than him being the sole father of the alien Xenomorphs as we know them. But leave your own thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you guys think of this massive change? And do you guys consider this to be the version of the origin, or do you much prefer David being the sole creator of the Xenomorphs? So I'll definitely have more of these deleted scene videos in the days to come. As always, thanks for watching. My name is Nick, and for more on the Alien and Predator universe, subscribe to the Hyper Network.